Hello, everyone. This is Rosa Parra coming at you from Las Vegas, Nevada. And I just ended day one of CinemaCon 2025. And I just wanted to give you a brief update on what the Sony presentation offered us just a couple of minutes ago. And for any further information regarding this morning's presentation on the international um, presentation that was this morning, please stay tuned for my written article, which is going to be more comprehensive in terms of everything that went on throughout today. So, Sony Pictures, the entirety of the presentation started at 6:30 in the afternoon Pacific Standard Time, but we had 30 minutes of just celebrating the year of movies of 2024. And so it was just 30 minutes of people acknowledging the success in terms of some box office numbers. Inside Out 2 was the most profitable movie of 2024. And then eventually at 7 p.m., Sony Pictures presentation started. Here we get an introduction from Paul Rudd and Jack Black that briefly informed us that they couldn't be in attendance because they are currently filming Anaconda, which is the remake of the 1990, I believe it's 1997 film that starred Jennifer Lopez. They did give us a set release date, which they say is going to be around December of this year. So keep an eye out for that. After that, we had the chairman and CEO of Sony Pictures come out, and he was just talking also about the theatrically released windows and how that can cost money to the studios and the theaters as well, and how he's willing to work with distributors and exhibitionists in terms of that. And then he went ahead and introduced us to Danny Boyle, who is going to be directing the movie 28 Years Later, which is releasing June 20th, 2025. And we were then offered the world premiere of the second trailer, which, to be quite frankly, it looks creepy, but pretty darn awesome. And to know that this is also written by Alex Garland, certainly it piqued my interest, even though I'm not big on zombie movies and such. So then after that, Nia DaCosta came out, who is directing 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and they showed us a couple of stills of the movie and pretty much just told us to go to the movie theaters and check these films out. And from what I watched, the stills and the trailer, it piqued my interest. After that, we were presented with Bob Persichet. Um Phil Lord came out and they gave us a little sneak peek into Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which is set to release June 4th, 2027. They gave us a little bit, I didn't consider it a trailer, it was more of a little video, just pretty much showing us some of the images that we are going to be watching in this new upcoming movie. They did let us know that the movie is going to start right where the second one left off, which was the big cliffhanger, and that's how this movie is going to be beginning. And yeah, they gave us a teaser that this movie is going to have a massive finale and one that is worth seeing on the biggest screen possible. And yeah, watching that clip was quite incredible, man. I cannot wait for 2027. From there, Darren Aronofsky, pardon my pronunciation, came out to talk a little bit about Caught Stealing, which is a movie set in the late 90s. It has Regina King, Austin Butler, Matt Smith, Zoe Kravitz, amongst others. And the film is set to release August 29th. This is a very, I personally liked this trailer. It's a drama, but also it looked a little goofy, action packed, like a B level genre type of film, and very 90s looking. Matt Smith looks pretty damn unrecognizable, but you know what? he looks pretty cool, to be honest. Oh yes, and Benito is in this movie too. Bad Bunny. So that trailer certainly did pique my interest to check out the movie. And then Kogonada came out to talk a little bit about his movie, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, which is going to be starring Margot Robbie, Colin Farrell, releases September 19th of this year. And it's a romantic comedy drama. And quite frankly, man, this trailer definitely did its job. It piqued my interest in seeing this movie. It looks emotionally heavy. It looks like it's going to be a moving film, but also with several moments of levity here and there. That man, it's one of those films, or at least it gave me the impression that this is one of those movies that we rarely get in terms of romantic comedies and such. So I can't wait to watch this movie because it looks pretty darn incredible. Um, from there we get more presentations, announcements here and there that I'm gonna be elaborating more on my written review, my written article of day one of CinemaCon. And then, okay, here we get Karate Kid Legends. They had a pretty cool special presentation when you have on stage performers, you had dancers, you have they were playing music and then people doing karate on stage. So it was a pretty nice introduction and definitely so getting us into the mood of the movie and such. So then um, Ben Wang and Ralph Macchio come out and they introduced us to a couple of scenes. There was two scenes that they showed us, both of them involved Jackie Chan and with the respective characters, which was pretty cool, to be honest. And they showed us a new trailer that is set to release tomorrow, which was also pretty neat. And I'm actually compelled to watch this film, and then the trailer certainly cemented that interest for me. After that, we had Destin Daniel Cretton come out to talk a little bit about the new Spider-Man live action film. And then he introduced us to Tom Holland, who sent us a message and, and just simply telling us that the movie is going to be called Spider-Man Brand New Day, releases July 31st, 2026. And the film is on full prep right now for a summer start of photography. Finally, the presentation ends with the introduction of Sam Mendes, who is going to be directing the movie The Beatles biopic. And he gave us a little story about how the Beatles have influenced him. There was a special circumstance that influenced him to go ahead and make these movies. Yes, you heard that right. Movies, plural, more than one. Here we are told that the Beatles is actually going to be four movies, each film told through the perspective of each member of the band. Some stories do intersect, and we are we're also informed that the movies are going to be releasing. I initially thought it was going to be every weekend of the month of April in 2028. But then we were told that this is going to be the first bingeable experience in theaters, which automatically scratched that thought out of my head and confirmed that the four movies are going to be released on the same day. And before we knew it, Sam Mendes was introducing us to the cast of the actors who are going to be playing the Beatles. Out comes Paul Mescal, who's going to be playing Paul McCartney. Joseph Quinn is going to be playing George Harrison. Barry Keoghan playing Ringo Starr. And Harris Dickinson as John Lennon. All four of them come on stage. They each say a little phrase, and they simultaneously take a bow. And I can't think of a perfect way to end this presentation than by having the four actors playing the Beatles. and ending it in such an epic way. So man, I'm still trying to get wrap my head around all of this because four movies, bingeable experience, all April 2028. The actors that are playing these, they're iconic. The Beatles, come on, they're the greatest band of all time, perhaps the most influential group of musicians of all time. So the responsibility that Sam Mendes has on his shoulders to tell these stories is quite a big one. And I find it quite intriguing that he decides to make four movies from the perspective of each member, which is something that I never thought would be conceivable. Because if you think a Beatles movie, okay, well, it's just going to be a Beatles movie. But very rarely do you sit down to consider, okay, well, whose perspective is this? Why not make a movie based on the perspective of each member? And that's something that's very, very compelling to me. All right, guys, I know this is a little lengthy video, but again, stay tuned at thelatinoslant.com where I'll be writing my article more thoroughly. I'll have more information and more announcements that were made during the Sony presentation. And yeah, so just go ahead, keep an eye out for that. That's it for me. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care, y'all. Bye.